I'm Xinshu. Here I'm very excited to share with you the latest technology we are building at Babylon Labs, which will enable native Bitcoins to be used trustlessly in DeFi applications. So first, let us address the terminologies, the jargons, the nomenclature. Sometimes we say BTCFi, sometimes we talk about Bitcoin-Fi or BTC DeFi or whatever. But among all these terminologies, there is a very significant overlap in terms of what it refers to. I think all of them refer to the evolution to bring Bitcoin into the DeFi world. Why? Because the DeFi world is very exciting. We have different kinds of activities happening. In DeFi, we have staking, lending, trading of different kinds of instruments and assets. Right? Why not we bring Bitcoin, the largest asset on the largest blockchain, to the rest of the crypto economy? A bit of a reality check, though. If you look at today, how are Bitcoins used in different DeFi applications? Right? Largely speaking, they have to go through some sort of bridges. Whether this is WBTC or this is about Coinbase BTC, or more recently, there are also like BTC LST projects. But you can see that the amount of BTCs that have been used in DeFi today via these bridges are relatively small, right? Especially if you look at the percentage, they are less than 1% of the total BTC supply. Because people have been thinking about, bridging all the time when they think about bringing Bitcoins to different applications. While on the other hand, if you really think harder about it, bridging is a means. It's a means to an end, but it's not the goal itself. And precisely because I think bridging sometimes bringing additional trust assumptions. Sometimes it goes against the ethos upheld by many people in the Bitcoin community, right? Because in Bitcoin, not your keys, not your coins. While usually with bridging, that's not the case. Now, if bridging is not the goal, right, in making Bitcoin really used in DeFi applications, then what is the goal? I think the goal is really to allow native Bitcoins to participate in DeFi, but trustlessly, right? What do I mean by trustlessly? It means that when Bitcoin holders put their Bitcoin to use in different DeFi applications, as long as they follow the protocols, they should be able to redeem their native Bitcoin, get them back. Right? That's very important for Bitcoin holders because some of them really treasure their Bitcoin. They don't want their Bitcoins to be lost. How do we achieve that? So this is something we are developing called Trustless Bitcoin Vaults. But before we go deeper into how Bitcoin Trustless Vaults work, let's take a case study of the day. Trustless Bitcoin staking. So what is Trustless Bitcoin staking? This is the technology that has been developed by Babylon. So it's for the first time for Bitcoins to be staked to secure different proof of stake chains in a very trustless manner. That means today you can already do that. Bitcoins can be locked on the Bitcoin chain without bridging, without wrapping. It can be used to secure different chains. The first chain being secured is Babylon Genesis. So this is a quick snapshot of where we are with trustless Bitcoin staking enabled by Babylon. So we have about slightly less than 7 billion USD worth of Bitcoin natively staked on Bitcoin. As I mentioned, it's not wrapped, it's not bridged. It's securing a blockchain. It can actually technically be used to secure many other blockchains as well. So this is quite exciting, isn't it? So in a few months' time, Babylon has become the second largest native Bitcoin protocol. Now have a guess. What is the largest native Bitcoin protocol? That is Bitcoin itself, right? So 7 billion doesn't sound like a huge number, but within a very short amount of time, it demonstrates that trustless protocols to use Bitcoin has a very strong demand. Now, if we go a little further, if we look at how Bitcoin staking works through the lens of Trustless Vault, right? Here is the picture. So in the middle, you see there's a vault, okay? Technically speaking, this vault is a taproot script on Bitcoin chain. It's a UTXO governed by the logic programmed in Bitcoin script. Now the staker can lock her Bitcoin in the vault with the full confidence that there are only two ways her Bitcoin can be spent. The first path is a happy path. That means after some time, this staker can go back and unstake and redeem the original Bitcoin. So everyone is happy. Of course, there are some additional incentive for that because the staker, by putting the BTC in the vault, she's helping secure some of the chains. She's going to get some staking rewards. And the other path is the so-called unhappy path. Because during the process of staking, the staker has to delegate a Bitcoin stake to one of the node operators. And these node operators are expected to perform their jobs well to secure different chains. What if they misbehave? Right? If they misbehave, there will be evidence that will be submitted to the vault such that a portion of the Bitcoin stake will be slashed. Slashed means it will be burned. Right? So in a sense, Bitcoin staking is already an embodiment of trustless Bitcoin vault. So the next step is really to generalize this idea. Bitcoin staking is mostly for security use cases. But what about other use cases? Right? What about lending? Lending by far is still the largest DeFi application in terms of TVL. So let's look at lending. Can we apply a similar schema into lending with trustless vault? So here's how it works. Now we have two rows. One is a borrower. We call him Bob. The other is a lender. We call him Larry. Now Bob has Bitcoin, and Bob wants to borrow USDC against the Bitcoin as collateral. How he does this is that he will lock the Bitcoin in the vault. Again, as I mentioned, the vault is a script on the Bitcoin chain. There's no wrapping, right? There's no bridging. And because of that, Larry can certainly verify that the Bitcoin has been properly locked. Then Larry can lend USDC, for example, to Bob. Now let's look at the two outcomes, two possible outcomes. What's the happy path? The happy path is that everything is rosy. The Bitcoin price, hasn't dropped much because that's a collateral. It's important the price is stable. Now Bob, can go back and repay the loan in USDC and redeem the original native BTC. So everyone is happy. Of course, Bob will pay a bit of interest to Larry, so Larry is happy as well. Now let's look at the unhappy path. So what if BTC price drops too fast and Bob does nothing about it? Okay? Now Larry starts to worry because if the BTC price keeps dropping, maybe it's not going to be able to cover the loan, the USDC loan Larry has given to Bob, right? So if Bitcoin price drops below a certain threshold, Larry is allowed to come in and pay back the and liquidate the vault to take the BTC, and maybe Larry will sell it to cover the loan Larry has already provided to Bob, right? So that's an unhappy path. I mean, it's certainly unhappy for Bob. It's a little bit unhappy for Larry as well. But you can see that there are two key features here that make this use case possible with trustless Bitcoin vault without bridging. Right? The first property is that the withdrawal conditions, whether this is about redemption under the happy scenarios or this is about liquidation under the slightly unhappy scenarios, so such withdrawal conditions need to be specified on Bitcoin trustlessly. Right? Technically speaking, they are programmed in Bitcoin scripts. Now, the second feature that is also very important is that such specific conditions that will trigger one of the specific spending conditions can be verified on Bitcoin trustlessly as well, right? It cannot be like someone will hold a special key. When this guy, feels it's the right time, he'll use the key to unlock one of the spending conditions to spend someone's BTC, right? That is not the trustless way of dealing with such a use case, right? So such things has to be verified on the Bitcoin chain itself. It was not possible until very recently with the BitVM technology. Right? We don't have time to go into the technical details of BitVM, but at the high level, BitVM allows results of different computation to be verified in an optimistic manner on the Bitcoin itself. Right? So that's also the backbone of the backbone technology of Bitcoin Trustless Vault. So we have published the white paper that details exactly how Trustless BTC vaults work, and we also try to illustrate how different DeFi applications can integrate with Trustless Bitcoin vaults to introduce native BTC as collateral into the applications without bridging, without wrapping, without having to issue any new token in a very trustless manner. So feel free to go to Babylon Labs website and check out more details. So in addition to lending, I think there are a few other DeFi use cases that could naturally adopt trustless Bitcoin vaults. So one is native Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. Imagine something like MakerDAO or Sky, but instead of being backed by ETH or USDC, it can be backed by native Bitcoin, again, without wrapping. Or some of the derivative stacks that can take BTC, native BTC as collateral, and then BTC will be settled according to pre-specified rules. So I think there's a lot of design space to explore for different DeFi applications to really benefit from Trustless BTC Vault so that they can take in native BTC into their applications. Right, to capture the vision of this Trustless BTC Vault, the reality today is that Bitcoins can only enter different applications on different smart contract chains via very limited, very narrow channels. And there seems to be a lot of reluctancy for Bitcoin holders to put a lot more BTC into these channels. While the new vision, enabled by Trustless Bitcoin Vault, is a crypto economy where any smart contract application on any smart contract chain will be able to leverage this primitive so that native Bitcoins can really freely flow into these applications and be used there. I think this is a huge sea of new opportunities for the entire DeFi world. So we are currently looking forward to speaking with different DeFi application developers and different chains to bring this technology to chains and applications. So if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts of collaboration, feel free to reach out to us. With that, I thank you very much.